For too long, Manchester United have been stuck with keepers who just aren't reliable. The same problems season after season: soft goals, howlers, poor distribution, zero presence. It's been painful to watch. Could the signing of Sen Lammens change that? Towering in at 6'4", the 23-year-old made 178 saves last season, more than anyone else in Europe, and he's cold as ice. And that's according to his former teammates at Royal Antwerp. He was wanted by Barca when he was 18, he was tracked by Inter and City this summer, but what we really want to know as United fans is, can he handle the pressure of being United's goalkeeper? And what can we honestly expect? To understand what Lammens might bring to United, you do need to understand where he came from, because it's genuinely not the typical story you'd expect from a keeper who's just made one of the biggest moves in European football. Lammens was like any other football-mad kid growing up, but when he made the move to Club Brugge's academy and their boarding school system, everything changed. Not just his football, but his entire personality. He said, as a little boy, I was even very exuberant and extroverted, but when I made the step to Club Brugge and the boarding school, I became more subdued and introverted. It was a transformation that sort of shaped the person he became and the keeper he's developed into. That quieter, more introspective approach, it's become his trademark. And when asked about being perceived as someone who keeps himself to himself, he's refreshingly honest. To the outside world, he said, I would rather be like that, but on the field and in the dressing room I do my part. If necessary, I stand on my stripes. Now, he caught Barca's attention when he was just 18. They wanted him for their B team, with a clear pathway to eventually replacing Marc-Andre ter Stegen. Most teenagers would have jumped at the chance, but Lammens chose differently. He stayed at Club Brugge to fight for his place. And at 19, when Simon Mignolet was unavailable, that patience paid off. He got his breakthrough, but Brugge couldn't offer him regular first-team football, so he needed to develop. So in 2023, as a free agent, he made that move to Royal Antwerp, and it was there that he had his real breakthrough season. As I said earlier, last season he made 178 saves, more than any other keeper in Europe. Not just impressive in isolation, but when you dig deeper into what those saves actually meant, you start to understand why some of Europe's biggest clubs were taking notice. He prevented 14.5 goals, more than expected based on the quality of chances he faced. And among goalkeepers aged 23 or under across Europe's top 20 leagues, no one came close. Old Trafford was second, with 11.8 goals prevented. If we remove age from the equation and judge him among all goalkeepers, he's still number 2. But we need to be smart about how we interpret those numbers, because data isn't everything. 6 of the top 12 goalkeepers for this metric all played in Belgium, and that's not a coincidence. The Belgian league, while competitive, is not the Prem. Teams create more chances, defences are less organised, and goalkeepers face more high-quality chances from less accomplished finishers. Still, you can only say what's put in front of you, and what Lammens has demonstrated at Antwerp was an ability to be consistently strong under pressure. As I said, his teammates even nicknamed him the Ice Keeper. Whether it's penalties or late game pressure, he does stay calm. That composure showed up in the biggest moments. He's saved 5 of the 9 penalties he's faced.
You shall not pass!
He uses every inch of that 6'4" frame, makes himself bigger and uses his reach to get into the corners. He's capable of a spectacular save, but most of all, he's been reliable for Antwerp. And as we've come to learn over the last few years, or even longer than that, that reliability is everything when it comes to having faith in your goalkeeper. And when you don't have it, it's a genuine danger to the team. Now, Lammens has naturally fast reflexes. Does have good technique too. When he makes a save, he doesn't just stop the ball, he does well to parry it out of danger. There's his handling. Lammens prefers to catch when possible. He's generally not one who makes saves for the cameras, kind of got the awareness to choose security over spectacle. Now, his distribution, it means he can be considered a modern goalkeeper. Last season, Onana completed 36.6% of his long passes. Lammens, 52.4%. Among under-23 goalkeepers across all leagues, his 371 progressive passes led the way. He's comfortable off both feet, can vary the height and the pace of his distribution, and crucially, he makes smart decisions about when to go long and when to keep it short. And when you compare him directly to Onana's league numbers last season, you can also see the differences. Lammens, 81.4% save percentage. Onana, 68.9%. Lammens stopped 11.2% of crosses. Onana with just 5.5%. Yes, they were playing in different leagues with vastly different quality levels, and that is a measure to understand. But those gaps are significant enough to suggest at least some underlying differences in ability. Now, the data will have played a huge role in why United have signed him, and clearly Chris Vivell believes that the underlying talent can translate to English football. But this wouldn't be an honest assessment if we ignored the areas where Lammens needs improvement, because he's far from a complete number 1. There are some legitimate concerns that United fans should be aware of. His command of the penalty area, particularly on crosses and high balls at this stage, remains inconsistent. He looks hesitant sometimes when come to claim high balls. Both crosses and corners can be a cause for concern. He gets his timing wrong and can cause a bit of a mess sometimes. And given everything that we've seen so far this season with Bayern and last season as well, that is a cause for concern. Now, what's encouraging is that this seems maybe to be more about confidence in decision-making than fundamental ability. Simply put, he's indecisive when coming to claim the ball. He usually succeeds when he commits fully and goes in with confidence. He's got the raw materials, the height, the reach, the athleticism, but needs to work on the timing and conviction, which I suppose shouldn't be too much of a surprise given we're talking about a 23-year-old goalkeeper with one full season of first-team football under his belt. There's also a technical issue with low saves to the open side of the goal. Sometimes fails to even attempt saves against low shots from close range and just kind of watches the ball go past him. That's the kind of thing that looks bad and will wind up United fans. I'm hoping that these mostly are refinements that he can make as he gains experience and confidence, but it's worth noting from the start. Lammens has shown through his experiences that he responds well to challenges. When he left Bruges for Antwerp, it wasn't because he couldn't handle the pressure, it's because he wanted more of it. He wanted to be number one. The mental side of the game may well be one of his greatest assets, and that's evident in his approach to one-on-one situations. When he rushes out to meet the attacker one-on-one, he's very good at making himself big and stopping the ball. The timing isn't always perfect, and when the striker is approaching at an angle, Lammens can leave the far side of the goal too open. But at technique and decision-making are generally sound. He's physically durable as well as mentally. He's only missed 2 games due to injury in his entire professional career so far. Now, United will be hoping what they're getting is a goalkeeper whose solid fundamentals mean he's got a high floor, but also whose youth and shot-stopping X-factor means he's got a lot of room to grow. The question is whether he'll be given the time and support to develop those areas of the game that needs work. The club won't be expecting him to come in and solve all our problems straight away. It'll probably be to gradually phase out Onana, give Lammens time to adapt to English football and continue development. That's the smart approach with a young goalkeeper who has potential, and if he takes the opportunities he gets this season, he'll establish himself as United's number one, and there will be no bigger opportunity for him in his career, ever. Now, the interest from other elite clubs actually tells its own story. As I said before, Barca wanted him at 18. Inter and City were tracking him this summer. Those clubs don't waste time on players they don't believe in. They saw the same potential that United scouts have identified. A young keeper with top reflexes, strong fundamentals, and a mentality to perform. Now, at Antwerp, despite being 23, he established himself as a bit of a leader. Not the vocal commanding type perhaps, but somebody who leads by example. That quiet confidence, that ice in his veins approach to pressure situations that earned him his nickname from his teammates. The timing of the move feels right too. United needs someone who can offer genuine competition to Onana while developing into a long-term solution, and that's where he fits perfectly. He's good enough now to push for the number one spot, but young enough that his best years are still ahead of him. Now, from a tactical perspective, his distribution could make United a more consistently reliable team in possession. He could be an asset, and we need that when it comes to the build-up. The financial side makes sense too. Getting a goalkeeper with this potential before he's established at the highest level represents smart business. And if he develops as expected, United would have secured their number one for the next decade, at a fraction of what it would cost to buy an established elite keeper. Transfers are always a gamble, ladies and gents, especially when you're talking about keepers and especially when you're talking about United. But there's a difference between putting everything on black and taking a calculated risk. Lammens in his career so far has proven he can take opportunities when they come. Can he do that at United? He's shown he gets better when the stakes get higher. Can he handle that at United? After what we've seen through our goalkeeping situation, just having someone who's reliable will be a massive upgrade. A keeper who doesn't panic, who makes smart decisions, who saves the shots that he should, and occasionally pulls off something spectacular. That's all we've ever wanted really, isn't it? Simple, effective, dependable, and ideally, not someone you really talk about, because the goalkeeper's just doing his job, as Roy Keane would say. Sometimes that's exactly what can help a team transform. Now, Sen Lammens is coming to Old Trafford. It feels like the right move at the right time. Let's see what he can do.